Hi, here's my second vlog out of two I've done so far. My name is Norm, welcome back to my Victoria. A lot of people ask me before we get started, Norm, what kind of equipment are you using to do all this cool videography and vlogging and such? Well, for my DSL camera, I'm using a Canon Rebel EOS SL2 with mic in. The nice thing about this camera is the fact that it has a mic in. I could have spent a few more dollars and had a, headphone out, but that's okay. The microphone system I'm using right now is an XSDW Sennheiser wireless, and I'm using a Sennheiser MKE2 microphone for my mic itself. For my video camera, I'm using a Panasonic HCX20, and it's a really nice camera. I really enjoy using it. So that's what I'm doing my vlogging with around Victoria. To my left is the legislature buildings, and I'm going to be talking about these buildings today and a couple others in Victoria. What do they all have in common? The legislature buildings, the steamship ticket office, the Empress Hotel. How about the old Crystal Garden swimming pool? What about the Irish Times pub? What do all these buildings have in common? Well, they were all designed by this great architect. His name was Francis Rattenbury, out of England. You might remember him. He had a very convoluted life story. I'm not going to go into his life story. If you want to know more about Francis Rattenbury, look him up on the internet. He had a really interesting demise at the hands of George Stoner, his second wife's and his chauffeur. His second wife's name was Alma Peckingham. So look them up on the internet and check out his sordid life story. Here is a memorial to fallen soldiers of the First and Second World Wars. They've added a little plaque here also for the Korean War and the Afghanistan War that was going on just of late. This is a beautiful monument in front of the legislature buildings. Here is a nice shot of the Queen Victoria statue in Victoria, right in front of the legislature buildings leading up to the fountain. And it was commissioned by Richard McBride, and it was also designed by the Irish artist Albert Bruce Joy. Now here's something interesting. It was placed here, it was supposed to be in the spot where the fountain lies today, but they had it backwards. Mr. Joy wanted it facing the legislative buildings so people wouldn't get run over by cars walking behind the statue. Interesting, eh? So if it's facing the road, everyone's going to get run over by cars. Oh no. Well, that wasn't the case. The unveiling was 1919. He didn't come to the unveiling because he didn't like the way she was situated facing the inner harbor. He wanted her facing the legislative buildings. And right beside the fountain is the Sir James Douglas Memorial Obelisk. This obelisk is made of marble, and it was installed here in 1881 to honor Sir James Douglas, the first Governor General of the colony of British Columbia. And more so, you can see a statue of him embedded in the legislature building. If you look at the main stone staircase and take a look to the right, you'll see his statue in the building. Rounding off the legislative lawns, you're going to see a beautiful totem pole. It was just placed there a couple of Februaries ago. I was driving the hop-on, hop-off bus that morning. Driving it by, there was a huge crane lifting the beautiful totem pole in its place, and it was surrounded by a huge contingent of people watching it going up. It was really cool to have actually driven by there that morning to take a look at it. Let's take a look at the legislature building while we're here, and we'll talk about the other four buildings coming up designed by Francis. The legislative buildings took 4 years to build, from 1893 to 1897. They opened up in 1898. On the top of the rotunda way up there, that's Captain George Vancouver, overlooking the inner harbor with his beautiful flagstaff. He is perched on a green copper dome. There are 33 of these green domes on the legislature buildings. They all represent larger stones that were in Queen Victoria's crown. She had 11 sapphires, 16 emeralds, and 6 rubies that made up the larger stones, hence the 33 green copper domes. Below them, there's a stag and a ram. They represent the 2 colonies that made up British Columbia. The ram and stag, one was the province of BC, and the other was the colony of Vancouver Island. They both merged in 1858. The colonies both merged. British Columbia became a province in 1871. This is the 6th province out of the 10 we have that was incorporated in Canada. Emily Carr was born the same year that British Columbia became the 6th province to join Canada. Here's a nice shot of her just down from the Empress Hotel with her monkey Woo and her dog Billy. I like that, Woo, like Ric Flair wrestling. So she was a foremost painter and artist here in Victoria. She passed away at the James Bay Inn, just 4 blocks up from the legislative buildings towards Juan de Fuca Strait. There is a saying on our legislature building. It says, "Splendor sine occasu," which is Latin for splendor without diminishment, a beautiful British Columbia motto. Now, if you look into the main stone staircase, take a look to the left. You're going to see the security guard there. The legislative buildings offer free self-guided tours or guided tours daily from 9 to 5, Mondays to Fridays. At the time of this posting, June 2nd, it's open to 8:30 in the morning. You want to go in the building and take a lot of beautiful pictures of all the beautiful ornate woodwork and the stained glass. This is a must if you're in Victoria. Absolutely free of charge. Now, just to the right side of the main stone staircase, a little hidden gem. Here's the legislature restaurants. They're open 9 till 2. They're open for breakfast and lunch. The thing is, breakfast is okay, but if you want to do lunch, please make a reservation. Don't let it go by on you, okay? The beautiful fountain right here in front of the legislature buildings was supposed to have been placed here around the 1912 era when she was built. The unfortunate part was she was never placed here until about 1919 due to World War I. But what a beautiful sight this is in front of the beautiful legislative buildings here in Victoria. So there's a little bit of a history of the legislative buildings here in Victoria. Let's head over to the steamship ticket office, which was designed in 1923 by Francis Rattenbury, opened up and built in 1924. A lot of marine traffic has come through these portholes since the beginning of the 1900s. Hi there, once again I'm standing here in front of the steamship ticket office. The motor vessel Coho anchors here and drops off passengers from Port Angeles, Washington State. The ship has been running between Victoria and Port Angeles since December 29th, 1959. One-of-a-kind ship, holds about 100 cars, 1,000 passengers. It's only an hour and a half, and you've done 28 kilometers or 18 miles across the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Beautiful, beautiful coastal seaside town on the other side in Washington State. Port Angeles was incorporated in 1890. Right beside it now is the FRS Clipper. Don't even tell me how to pronounce the words FRS. I got them in the caption here. You take a look at, see if you can announce those words 10 times straight. The German company. The Clipper takes 2 hours and 50 minutes to get here from Seattle, and it leaves from Pier 69, Puget Sound. Beautiful jet-powered catamaran. Maybe do the tour from Seattle to Victoria. Stay at one of the beautiful hotels. Right now, there were a couple of ships back in the day that used to come by in these waters. One was called the Kalakala, or the Kalakala, from Seattle to Victoria. Kind of a cool-looking space-age ship. Started sailing around the 1938 era. Now, I don't remember it being here until 1955 because I was born in 57. But I heard that the last time it sailed here, sailed here was 1955. Quote me if I'm wrong. Put your comments in the box below. Let me know. A lot of facts and figures to tell you in one scoop here. Then there was the Princess Marguerite II that sailed between Victoria, Vancouver, and Seattle. And then the Princess Marguerite III, which was a converted, one of our BC ferries, the Queen of Burnaby. And here's a shot of the Queen of Burnaby as she is as a BC ferry. And here's the Queen of Burnaby as she was, as the Princess Marguerite III, which I almost vaguely remember being here until the 1980s. Here is a nice shot of the front entrance of the Empress Hotel. To the left would be the main entrance underneath the rotunda. The Empress was named for the Empress of India, also known as Queen Victoria. She passed away in 1901, 3 years before the Empress was built. Nice shot of the exterior of the Empress Hotel here. Took 4 years to build, 1904 to 1908. Still the longest running hotel here in Victoria. It was built under the Canadian Pacific Railway header. There were 12 like this chateau-esque style hotels built across Canada under that header. 7 built under the Canadian National Railway header, and 5 under the Grand Trunk Railway system. Here is a front-facing picture of the old Crystal Garden swimming pool designed by Francis Rattenbury. It opened up in 1925, designed and built in 1924. The building was designed after a building built in London, England in 1861. The name of the building was the Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace had a lot of glass in the structure, a lot of beams holding up the glass, and a huge atrium inside. Unfortunately, the old beautiful building in London, England burnt down in 1936. Our old Crystal Gardens pool was designed after that building in mind. A lot of beautiful glasswork, a lot of beams, and beautiful red brick underneath. In this old beautiful building from 1924, there's a restaurant that's been here for 26 years. My wife and I like to come here and venture in through it once in a while. You might have one where you live. This is where you'll find our old spaghetti factory. Maybe sit out on the patio or sit inside the beautiful 1924 style building. Beautiful indeed inside. Here I'm standing at beautiful Thunderbird Park, just diagonally across the street from the old Crystal Garden swimming pool. This beautiful longhouse opened up in 1941. The Coast Salish natives do their beautiful totem pole carvings in this beautiful longhouse to this very day. Beautiful indeed, including, of course, all the beautiful totem poles here, just across the street from the old Crystal Garden swimming pool. Well, I'm just standing outside here at the Royal BC Museum. The museum dates way back to 1886, when a petition was signed by 30 prominent citizens to have artifacts saved in Victoria. Our BC Museum has the tallest IMAX in British Columbia. It stands stately at over 6 stories high. They show documentaries every hour on the hour for 45 minutes. Some of the documentaries are in 3D. So where the museum sits today, as we hear the carillon in the background, as part of this 1967 Canadian Centenary celebrations, BC Premier W.A.C. Bennett committed to building a new home for the Royal BC Museum. It opened up here August 16th, 1968. The final budget? Modest $9.5 million. Here is a unique obelisk right in front of the museum. It's called one of the 7 signs of Lekwungen. It is a spindle whorl that the native ladies used to use back in the day to spin wool. There are 7 of these markers around Victoria. This is one of them right in front of the museum. The other ones you have to look for around Victoria. It's like a geocache hunt. Check out all the beautiful 7 signs of Lekwungen, all designed by Butch Dick and carved also. 7 signs of Lekwungen around Victoria. Here's a little sneak preview of where they're at. Well, while we're in this area by the museum, let's check out the beautiful carillon that was placed here in 1967 to commemorate Canada's 100 years as a nation. It was donated from the Netherlands for us helping them uprise through the Second World War. It will chime on the hour and play a tune right after it. Rosemary Lang used to play the harpsichord upstairs. To this very day, I'm not sure if she does it anymore, but it's a beautiful sight to behold here, right beside the museum, right across the street from the legislative buildings. About 4 blocks down the street, you would find the legislative buildings and the Empress Hotel. So 4 blocks up this way, you'll find Bastion Square, right about here. Bastion Square kind of cuts a hole in between where Fort Victoria once stood. The fort itself has been since dismantled, but if you go down a couple of blocks here towards the Inner Harbor, you'll find a couple of really cool shops at Bastion Square. But on the corner here, on View and Government, an old Chateauesque style building designed by Francis Rattenbury back in 1894. This is the Irish Times pub, the sister company to the Bard and Banker, just 2 blocks down to the left. And the Irish Times pub and the Bard and Banker, owned by the same owner. This building was designed by Francis in 1894, and it opened up as the first Bank of Montreal here in 1904. So all these beautiful buildings in Victoria. And if you head down the street the other direction, about another 4 blocks, you'll come to our beautiful Chinatown. See you in the next vlog. Well, with the beautiful legislature buildings in the background, check out these beautiful hanging baskets in the Inner Harbor area. These hanging baskets are watered every night while they're put up between the middle of June and taken down in September. The tradition with the hanging baskets started way back in 1937. 11 to 1200 around Victoria today. Also in the Victoria Inner Harbor area, you see the beautiful sign that says, "Welcome to Victoria," in the beautiful red flowers. They started planting this sign way back in 1954, and every year they replant it for everyone to enjoy from all points of the earth. Another great shot of the Empress Hotel here in Victoria. But here's something really interesting. If you want to do the little Victoria Harbor ferries, let's check this out. We're right across the street from the Empress. All you have to do is walk right over here, down this beautiful staircase. Make sure you don't trip and fall while you're going down. And right over here is a little gangway. Let's check this out. This little gangway will take you right down here to the Victoria Harbor Ferries kiosk. So the little kiosk for the Victoria Harbor Ferries is right here for you. And I do believe they're open at 10 o'clock in the morning. And this is where their little kiosk is. Here is a little map for you if you're interested in doing any of the Harbor Ferry stops off the little Harbor Ferries. My favorite is just over here, basically down in the middle of the screen right here. Fisherman's Wharf. About an 8-minute journey from the Empress Hotel. Sometimes they'll stop at a couple other stops before you hit Fisherman's Wharf. They also do a 45-minute harbor tour up underneath the Johnson Street Bridge here and the Bay Street Bridge on the way to the Gorge. Great way to see the inner harbor and check out all the bubble gum underneath the bridges. Well, here we got one of the harbor ferries just taking off from the dock, heading to one of 14 different points of call. The Victoria Harbor Ferries, there's 14 of these ships in their fleet, and every Sunday right now at 10:30 in the morning, they'll do their little ballet till the end of the month. Then starting in July and August, they'll have the water ballet happening at 10:30 on Saturdays and Sundays. Check out the harbor ferries once again to take you to those 14 different points of call, including Fisherman's Wharf. Here is Prince of Wales whale watching tours. There is a fair-sized ship right there. Let's just go around the corner and take a look and see what they have to offer for you. They also have these over here, the Zodiacs. You ever thought about going whale watching tours on a Zodiac with some of your friends, family, whatever have you? Check this out. My wife, my daughter, and I were on one of these guys skipping along the waves about 3 years ago, checking out all the orcas and all the sea lions on all the islands. Really cool little journey for you. Let's take a look at the catamaran over here on the other side. Here's an awesome shot of the Prince of Wales Sailor Sea Eclipse. One of the beautiful catamarans you can take out and check out the orcas along the waves. And right beside it, the Ocean Magic 2. It's smaller than that, enclosed a little bit for you. But like I said, if you like the Zodiacs, they're right over there in the distance. While we're on the wharf here, just heading over to the seaplane dock, there is the oldest federal building in Western Canada. It's on Wharf Street here in Victoria. It opened up in 1875. It was built in 1874 as the original customs house. It's now used by 3 tiers of legal firms. Here is the most uniquest looking thing I've ever seen in the inner harbor. It is a boat. It has a little anchor on the front, 2023. And interestingly enough, this is a floating sauna. Yeah, you can come over here and get yourself in one of the sauna areas here on this boat. Check it out, a floating sauna right here in the inner harbor. Cool. Just down the ramp from the old federal building here on the wharf is Victoria Harbour Airport. This is, you'll find, home to Harbour Air and Kenmore Air. One of the planes right now is getting ready to take off out of the harbor. This is the busiest water airport in all of North America. There will be a plane landing and taking off every 20 minutes in the harbor today. Harbour Air flies all over British Columbia, while Kenmore Air flies in from Seattle. The only thing they stop for on the water is orcas and fog. Let's watch this guy take off, eh? Some of these planes are Cessna, some of them de Havilland. They hold about 9 to 14 people leisurely. And what we have over here is the Orca Spirit now going out. That's another whale watching company here in Victoria. They leave right here on the wharf, right beside Harbour Air and Kenmore Air. Harbour Air takes about 45 minutes to fly in here from Vancouver, while Kenmore Air about the same time frame, 45 minutes. From Seattle. You ever thought about coming to Victoria on Harbour Air on a float plane? Why not? You're only 3 blocks from the Empress and Old Town Victoria. Check it out. Adjacent to the Empress Hotel, right across the street, is Victoria's Victoria Information Centre. Now, it's in the guise of a great Canadian tradition, the Empire State Building. Here you'll find a lot of information about Victoria, Vancouver Island, and the mainland, and a whole bunch of neat things about touring while you're in Victoria. Right on the corner here to the right side of the rotunda from the Empress Hotel, this is called surfacing. It's a mama and a calf on a wave. It's put up between the Downtown Business Association and Greater Victoria every year. The mama and calf, yes, they're always watered. They're made up of over 10,000 flowers and 3 different types. Here is a little plaque for the 2 orcas. Now, I can't remember what the names of the flowers are. There they are underneath there. There's one called Alternathera, Santolina, and Festuca plants. Say that 10 times real fast. The number 75 bus, right across the street here, they leave from just over here on the left, just down the road here from the Emily Carr statue. And the number 75 over here will take you to the Butchart Gardens for $6 return trip. Best spot to get on the bus, right here at the base of the Empress Hotel, heading over to Butchart Gardens for your daily tour around. And off to the just the right side of the legislature buildings. Over here, if you're looking for a bus to take to the BC ferries, you'll catch the buses right here. These are the double-decker BC Transit buses, number 70 and 72. They'll take you right to the ferries for $3. Or you can do a day pass for $6. So these buses will take you right to the BC ferries. It takes about an hour to get to the ferries from the legislature building. Time yourself accordingly if you're picking up a ferry at Schwartz Bay. Now here's a shot of the bus that'll take you to Vancouver on the ferries from the old Crystal Garden swimming pool, the Wilson's Connector. I work for Wilson's. This is one of our buses that'll take you onto the ferry, onto Vancouver, and at different points and stops of call, including the cruise ship terminal. You'll have to get off the bus on the other side of the ferry and catch a bus to the airport if you want to do YVR. Well, right across the street from the legislative buildings, you'll find the Victoria Carriage Tours and Tally Ho. This is the Tally Ho kiosk. They trade sides every day of the week. They have tours anywhere from 15 minutes to 90 minutes. Anywhere from $85 to $450. Here's one of the horses at Tally Ho. Rusty, do you have anything to say today? No? Well, we got a nice shot here of one of the horses for Tally Ho. This is Rusty with Caitlin, the driver for him today, looking for business. These horse tours are just adjacent to the legislative buildings. We have Tally Ho on this side of the road today, and right across the street, Victoria Carriage Tours.